Shot, and what a marvellous goal from Arthur Graham. Out from Golak. In goes Madeley. Across comes Nicol, and he's lost it. And it's Graham again. Now Paul Madeley. It was deflected. The goal is given. And Paul Madeley gets the congratulations. Eddie Gray to Currie. Cherry. Flynn. Frank Gray. Southampton struggling to pick everyone up, and they didn't find Currie. Hankin applauds. Currie reflects. Eddie Gray, another of the 30-plus brigade. Currie. Oh my goodness! And Tony Currie milks the applause that is so deserved. Ten minutes into the second half, and a moment to savour from a player of supreme talent. The curve totally beating Terry Geno. Eddie Gray. Graham to Cherry. And again they're caught, and Hankin is onside, and Golak has put it into his own net. Hankin can smile. He certainly caused the problems.
I thought Tony Currie, you know, I think Stan Bowles and I think Huddy, I think we definitely saw the best of those two. Now I think we also saw a very good Tony Currie, but I don't think we ever really saw the best of him. And right. That's what, out of the three of them, he's the one that I would say that
should have gone on.
I always felt we could have had more of him.
Yeah.
I think he was a top quality player. I mean, he could knock 50, 60-yard balls. He could score goals. He could beat people. He was.
You think he should have done more?
I felt a little bit more.
He was a great player. Tony Currie was a great player. He could do all those things. I always thought he had problems with his weight. You know, I always thought he could have.
I think he did, didn't he?
I always thought if he could have disciplined himself to lose sort of half a stone, then who knows what he could have done. But he certainly had so much ability. He had it to burn. He had it to waste, really. He had that much. But he could score goals. He hit balls. He could bend them. He could do anything you wanted with him. But he was a very, very good player. And I would put him as a great player.
And two more of our misfits, Alan Hudson and Stan Bowles, after the break.
Protection around the clock. There's one hero who's hard to knock. Late at night, germs are multiplying like silver bullet, big bad Dom.
Alan Hudson was another player of quite outstanding ability who seemed to lose his way. His talents graced both Chelsea and Stoke.
Hudson. Greenough. Aiming for Mahoney, picked him up well. Doyle stays there. Now Hudson. Made a little space for himself. Good attack. That's it. Moores. Here Moores. Here Moores makes it 1-0 and brings the Stoke fans up to their feet. That was a beautifully constructed goal. Credit to Ian Moores for finishing it off, but look back on the build-up with Alan Hudson. Superb ghosting run down the right side, and the cross ball absolutely slide rule accurate. And Moores knocks in his third goal of the season. Hudson then, aiming for Greenough. Hudson away from Donaghy. Moores, back for Hudson. Too much. Rejected. That's what the Stoke fans think about it. Well, Alan Hudson set up the first goal for Moores this afternoon. It's only poetic justice that he should get the second. Started the whole thing off at the right side of the box. It looked as though the chance had gone away from him. One little shimmy one way, the small gap, and he squeezes it in past McRae's fingers and the post. Hartford. Chased by Hudson. Goes for Royal. Now Jewett. Taken out so easily. Jewett didn't like it. Salmon's breaking now for Stoke. Hurst out to the left. Moores and Greenough in the middle. Oh, beautifully done! Moores gets his second goal. Dennis Smith galloping forward. And Moores is off again. On for Hurst. Could this be the fourth? Yes, it is! Yes, it is. Number 4.
Huddy worked very hard at his game. I mean, he was basically someone who he was a good passer of the ball, great passer of the ball. All he wanted to do was give it and get it back. He really got people control. I didn't think he was a great goal scorer. I thought he played in a very good team. I don't think he had the ability that Tony Currie had. He wasn't someone who was going to win games for you. I mean, he was a very good player, but I wouldn't have said that he had the ability that Tony Currie did. I know Bally thinks different. Bally thinks he was a lot better than possibly than Currie.
Why do you think that, Alan?
Well, again, being he was my type of midfield player. He made his debut for England against the West Germans, and I was given the honour of captain my country for the first time, so it was a debut for the pair of us. And the lad came in quite late in his career to make this debut, and he gave one of the best exhibitions of passing football against the Germans. Beckenbauer and all them were playing this particular night. We won 2-0, and he was absolutely outstanding. His passing and the precision of his passing, and he used to what I call hurt people. He'd thread balls in areas where defenders didn't like them. He didn't play across people. He didn't play negative things. He always looked to hurt people. He always looked to be creating something. He had a fabulous engine. All day he'd run. He wasn't the best of tattlers, but he tried to nick things. But his passing and his awareness of his passing was international class.
Well, from Alan Hudson to another man with a touch of genius, Stan Bowles. Sit back now and enjoy a Queen's Park Rangers side that really meant enjoyment.
Bowles. Outside of his left boot, trying to get Thomas away. And Thomas winning it well. Beating Madra there. There's the cross going in towards Gibbons. Bowles, number 10. Curling it beautifully there for Ian Gillard. Still with Gillard. And a shot and a good save by Flat. Mills and Webb, a foul by Webb on Boersma, just outside that area. Stan Bowles has been behind the kickers, organising that Rangers wall. Saunis with a shot right through there, and it's there by Boersma. Clement. Now Francis. Clement again. Down he goes, penalty. So a skipper's responsibility for Jerry Francis against Jim Platt. And he's got it. 1-1. Now Hollins. There's people like Hollins and Gillard and Clement who've got to come forward, otherwise they're always going to be outnumbered. But here's Gibbons. Yes! Bowles has gone through to the middle as well, and he almost got there, and he might still get there. Francis hammering it in. That's number 3. Hassan. Bowles.
Still Bowles. Will this be the fourth? Yes! Stanley Bowles. And Webb, who to my mind has probably been Rangers' best player on this afternoon. Webb absolutely magnificent. Again, doing a good defender's job there. But Armstrong dinking that one in. Oh, and it's there by Bryan.
I rated him very, very good player, especially at Queen's Park Rangers. He had a spell there,
That's right.
and he obviously played the best football of his life, I think.
As entertainers go, Stan Bowles and Frank Worthington were out on their own.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that in my book.
As entertainers, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but no, I mean, Stan was a player. I mean, they're both good footballers, but they you know, if you had an exhibition game on, first two people I would have got would have been Stan Bowles and Frank Worthington, because they would have entertained everybody.
Yeah. He charmed you on the pitch, Stan. You know, he was slight.
If he lacked anything, it was a bit of pace.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? You know,
he was slight. And he charmed people because these big defenders, he used to just throw them dummies, and they used to try to kick him, and he'd be gone. You know, with these dummies and that, and he was a tremendous. But he's another. It's a shame because he was another one who was a victim of what he did away from the pitch.
yeah, it wasn't.
But what he did away from the pitch, because he was a gambler, and he's an addict, and he admitted himself to gambling. And that's why he gambled on the football pitch, and that's why Mick said he had no fear. And because he's that type of person, it's in his makeup. So what the hell? I'll go and take these 2 and 3 on and around the box.
It's only a game of
It's
football.
only a game of football.
It's not the end of the world, is it, if you get beat?
Can't wait to get off to see the race results after the game.
And it's
But whilst he was on there, he used to do tremendous things. And unfortunately, people talk about him, about what he did away from the football pitch, and rather what he did on it. And it's a shame, really, because, again, tremendous player. I love to watch him.
So we're going on, and Rangers are at 10 men as the free kick's taken, and Bowles takes the shot now, and he gets the equaliser. There it is, 1-1. And Thomas absolutely streaking up for Rangers. Over the side is Bowles. Has he seen him? He has. He can't miss it, surely. He didn't. What a glorious move out. The scoreline is 3-2 in favour of Rangers now.
He was totally dedicated. I mean, you could give him a ball, and he was so comfortable on it. You know, I mean, everything was easy. Everything was natural. He didn't have to train really, but he loved it. Like Alan said, he had an enthusiasm for the game, and he loved to play. I mean, because he loved to bet and he loved to gamble and what have you. Now, I always remember telling him I used to watch the 2:45 race at the Dell, run down the stairs, have my kit on, and it was more or less straight out onto the pitch. Yeah. He said, I can top that. He said, I've had a bet in the 2:45 race. He says, the horse won. He says, I went out the dressing room, round to the betting shop in my gear, picked up my winnings, because if I'd wait until after the game, the betting shop would have been closed. And he said, I want to go to the dogs that night. He says, I picked the money up, back out, put it in my pocket, and straight onto the pitch. Now, what I'm saying is, all right, the managers might say, oh, he's terribly unprofessional, but I tell you, when you got Stan Bowles on the pitch,
90 minutes, yeah,
he gave you everything. Yeah. And I tell you what, you know, there was nothing wayward about him when he was playing. He wanted to play, he wanted to please, he wanted to score goals, he wanted to create goals, he wanted to beat people, he wanted to push it through someone's legs. That's what football was about.
See, because of the outside interests or whatever you might call it, or the problems they have in private life, they've suffered through that, these three lads, because people have picked up on that, because they say, what a waste. But it wasn't a waste. They all had great careers. They all played a long time, you know. And they didn't get the recognition at international level.
Along the way, they've probably fallen out with a manager or something because of situations.
That's right.
They are a bit wayward in the sense that they don't have to be totally wound up to play the game. The game isn't that hard for them. It's harder for managers and coaches who are basically, you know, apart from that, you get Bally and a lot of managers these days, they couldn't kick my backside, never mind a football. Mm-hmm. And they think that the only way to play football is to be totally dedicated, you know, to be organised. But
if you see, as a manager now, just putting in Mick, as a manager now, I can understand how other managers, they see one person like the Bulls or the Hudsons who haven't got that, what can I say, that fear for discipline, you know. and they don't sort of react the same as a manager would. So he's got sort of 15 or 16 professionals, and he's got this one person who just rubs him up, really, because he can't really dictate to him like he can do the others. But on the pitch, this player is the one that can win him games. And I can see managers, because being one now, I can see managers, these type of players did get up people's noses.
The games are poorer for it, and even our. You go back to the days when you used to play on the village green. You used to go, and the boys used to have Reader's Digest for pads, didn't they? And they used to go out with cigarettes for the kick-in. You know what I mean? I mean that's what football's about. It's about sort of characters.
And that's it. I hope you've enjoyed remembering with us some of the game's great entertainers. But if you think that was good, wait until next time. We'll be looking at Rodney Marsh and George Best. From us, it's goodbye.